like to call to order the Township of North Huntington Board of Commissioners regular meeting Wednesday, April 18th, 7 p.m. to order. Roll call. Manager Silka.
Commissioner Harold. Here. Commissioner Bertani. Commissioner Blasco.
Here.
Commissioner Martino.
Here.
Commissioner Bevan.
Here.
Commissioner Casera.
Here.
Commissioner Higas.
Here. Can everyone please stand for Pledge of Allegiance and the opening prayer by Pastor Nate from the Church of Nazarene?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Father, thank you for this day that you've given to us, the sunshine that we need and we'd love to see. And thank you for the opportunities to serve you in the community. Bless each one here, the commissioners, and all that they do are service people as well. And God bless this time that we would honor you and glorify you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
If any citizens would like to speak tonight, they can sign the book at the podium. We have one citizen would like to speak tonight, Don Tarosky Jr.
Good evening.
Just your name and address for the record, please.
Don Tarosky Jr. Address is 8954 Hill Drive, North Huntington, PA 15642. Well, it's been some time since I've been before you. We haven't had a project here in 2 or 3 years. When we got the top portion of Huntington Marketplace approved. Some of you may wonder why it's taking so long to get this project kicked off. And there's many factors to why that top building has not been built. But before you hear next month, you'll see another application for a smaller building at the bottom of the hill. And then on the second parcel, 2 other smaller buildings. Just today, some things have been brought to my attention by the zoning office that yet again hold up our development of this parcel. You guys have talked at length about why these parcels have sat there. I've seen it in minutes. I've seen it on the videotape behind me in the comfort of my own home. You asking questions what the problem is. Well, yet again, we're ready. And the problem's right here in this building, unfortunately. I've skirted around the issue long enough. I've been told by my superiors to moot my point on the issue. My company started here in North Huntington in 1951, long before I was ever even thought of. Most would argue the tax base that is here that was started by my predecessor is because of Spire Homes and the development that they started in the early 50s. The decision ahead is where I go with my company 3 generations later. And unfortunately, the loyalty I have to this township is wavering because of some issues that surround this townhouse. Unfortunately, those issues came to a head yet again today. A simple application for 27,000 square feet. The zoning planning office had said that a shopping center ordinance would apply to this specific development. Dave, you were here before when this ordinance was drafted and approved for the corner parcel, the largest corner parcel. And the intent of this ordinance is, of course, directed specifically to that parcel. Don't you agree, Dave? Okay. Unfortunately, there's a number of things in this ordinance that prohibit the use, the buildable area on my lower parcels. But Andy has yet, for some reason, decided that this applies to those parcels, rendering my entire development unusable. 100-foot setback versus 30, 15-foot front setback versus 30. It squeezes the site in to a point where one may argue it's condemned. These issues in here are insurmountable. This is important and integral to that development. I thought 2-3 years ago that the development would kick off at the top of the hill, and most argued that it should occur at the bottom of the hill first. And that's what we're trying to accomplish here. We have a set of tenants to bring in here and kick this project off after how long? This ordinance is dated 2000, so it's at least 18 years now. That being said, I need your opinion because I can't have this hold this project up yet again. This shopping center ordinance is one in which should have been applied to other projects in the township, but wasn't. For example, Kenny Ross, Chevrolet, Subaru, this ordinance should have been applied in that situation, but hadn't, but now is for some reason. Norwin Town Square, I know for a fact that I developed that site, that this ordinance wasn't in practice there, but now it is for a smaller development. You guys need to know of these issues. Most people hide in their homes and decide that this is just how things work. Well, I can tell you they don't. I work from here to Cleveland to West Virginia. I would rather develop in Cranberry than deal with the issues here. And the big decision ahead is where do I take my company? Because I don't think it's here. My loyalty, I was taught, is to this township. I grew up here. My business helped this township grow, in essence. I read in the paper just yesterday, there's a tax base issue yet again at the school district. When Dr. Kerr asked me what the problem is, that they're short yet again on school taxes, and they can't raise the taxes anymore. I'm sure you guys are familiar with this, right? The problem's right here. Nothing can get developed. I can't develop this land, get this thing reassessed, and help out the school district as my company has for years. So what is your response to this is what I'd like to know. I was always taught never to get up in a public meeting in this situation and do this. And I'm going outside practice and doing so. And because of that, my superiors may not be happy, but my livelihood and the future of my company is more important. And here, I can't do business. This situation, I can no longer do business here. I own the building that Mr. Schuster's in, and we're talking about taking ourselves somewhere else. So thank you for your time, and I hope that you can respond to me at some point this evening.
That's all for citizens' input. Any response to citizens' input?
I guess from my point of view, I didn't know there was any issues. Maybe Andy or somebody can enlighten us to what's going on because I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, none of your anything came to the board yet.
Right.
That about any of your properties that you spoke of. So
we received an application on Monday for a lot at the corner of Rhonda and Mills, which is a little over 4 acres. That is a subdivision of the large semicircular piece of ground that wraps around the outside of Mills Drive. I believe the total acreage is something close to 30 acres for the entire piece. I wasn't here when the shopping center ordinance was passed in 2000. Since my phone conversation with Mr. Tarosky this afternoon, I have spoken with both Virginia Stump and Bill Chapman from the Planning Commission. They told me that this was passed to address any shopping center in our business district. It wasn't targeting any particular site. They acknowledged that they knew Mills Point was coming, but that it was for any shopping center that would come along. They were trying to avoid the look of big boxes. They were trying to avoid a monotone front to a store. It requires offsets in the building front every 100 feet, among other things. That shopping center ordinance applies to any retail use or uses developed in accordance with a common scheme or design, which initially or cumulatively either A, are situated on a parcel or parcels exceeding 3 acres, or B, occupy more than 75,000 square feet of building floor area. Mr. Tarosky told me this afternoon that I'm misinterpreting that ordinance. It's supposed to be 3 acres and 75,000 square feet.
It's
of
quite
building floor
selective, as
area.
we can tell, because other projects have fell through the cracks, Andy. What about Kenny Ross
Mr.
and Jacktown?
Tarosky, with all due respect, you
Right.
had your chance to speak. We're trying to work this out and give you an
Fair
answer.
enough. I'll be back.
When the initial subdivision plan was recorded in 2006 for Mills Point, it shows the 100-foot buffer wrapping around the back of that site adjacent to Lincoln Hills, which is what the ordinance requires. You can't come in now and take a piece of that property and subdivide it and say, well, the 100-acre setback doesn't apply anymore. It's now only 30 feet, which is what's proposed. We didn't do that with the plan that was approved 2 years ago at the crest of the hill. That 100 acres, the 100-foot buffer on the plan, that goes with the property. That doesn't go away. That stays no matter how that property is built or developed or parceled out. As far as Kenny Ross Subaru, it's not retail. This is a shopping center. Kenny Ross Subaru is not a shopping center. There certainly are bigger buildings than 75,000 square feet and 3 acres in the township. There's Cleveland Price. There is Norwin Town Square, but that was a shopping center that's been in existence since the 60s. To require a 100-foot buffer against the adjoining residential lots, I'm not sure that shopping center would comply. So, at least since I've been here, this has been used. It was used for the Chesterfield redevelopment when Walgreens and Starbucks was to go in there. That was over 3 acres. That applied. And I don't know that we've had any other shopping centers of that size or magnitude other than that one, which did fit that over 3 acres of development. But I'm happy to let our solicitor look at it and make a decision. I'll be happy to send you the ordinance, Craig, if you'd like to look at that. I'll send you the recorded plan from before, and I'll send you what's proposed now. I don't think there's any question, but if you'd like to read it and do an interpretation, I would welcome that.
I think that would be up to the board.
I'm fine with that, Andy, if you want to send it along to Craig, just to have him look at it, but you're the expert on hand. If that's what the ordinance states, that's what the ordinance states.
Greg, you get a chance to maybe talk to Mr. Tarosky too, just get his input and see where he's coming from.
Any other response to citizens' input? Thanks, Andy. Approval of minutes. Special meeting of 3/15/18.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Regular meeting 3/21/18.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Payment of bills.
I'll make a motion, we pay voucher number 75986 through voucher number 76066.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Staff reports, Public Works report. Mr. Albert. Anything to add to your report in our file there?
Yes,
Hopefully no more snow.
yeah, hopefully no more snow, although they're calling for a little bit this evening. Last month I told you I might be able to have some figures for you to see where we stand for winter maintenance. Of course, it snowed the day of the meeting, and that kind of blew that all to pieces. We budgeted $440,000 this year for salt purchasing. Right now, we are at $440,000, and we are at $439,000 as of today. So we're actually $1,000 under budget. Now, that sounds good right now, but that's not the case. Our stockpile's down about 2,000 ton for where we need to start off for the year next year. And once we purchase that, make those additional purchases, we're probably going to be somewhere around 125,000 over budget. So that's the unfortunate thing. We won't want to start off the winter at such a low stockpile. Jeff and I will have to sit down at some point here. Our contract for this season will be up at the end of May, beginning of June.
Yeah, the end of June, I believe it's
up. The end of June. We'll have to make a decision at that time whether or not we want to buy off of this contract or wait to the new contract. Before in the past, we've bought off the contract, the older contract, based on the fact that a lot of times it does increase. We've had the luxury over the last few years to be able to do that because of the fact that we've had additional funds sitting there available because of the milder winters. We're not going to have that luxury this year, so we'll have to make some decisions on how you want to proceed with that. That's where we stand so far for the season. Of course, we're trying to get some things accomplished. They did open the asphalt plants, and they are making some hot mix finally, based on the weather, of course, which hasn't really cooperated. So we've started to get underway, and we'll be able to start some projects here recently. And any other thing that I do want to mention to the board is, of course, you're aware of our slide issues in North Huntington, like a lot of other communities have. The Haywood Road slide, Mahaffey Hill and Lighthouse Lane. Mahaffey Hill and Lighthouse Lane, those projects are completed. They were minimal. Haywood Road, Bob Robertson, our engineers, working on putting a plan together. That's going to be quite a deal there. So I'm sure he'll have something here in the near future for you as far as prices and the plan to proceed with that. That's unfortunate, but of course, as I had mentioned, we're no different than some of the other communities in the region. So, other than that, I have no other thing to report to the board. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Rich, I do have a question. I just want to refresh your memory. In that last year in the fall, we had some people here from Pettigrew Road and Ward Drive that we had talked to about getting their roads on the road program this year, and I believe they're on there.
That's correct.
Just a little reminder that, we told them that we would get right on that, so, I'd appreciate it if you could look into that.
Sure. Pettigrew is on the road paving program for this year, and depending on, the contractor, we have yet to have our pre-construction meeting, so at that time, I'll see to it where it lies as far as the whether it'll be at the beginning of the program or towards the end.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to refresh your memory on that because I've had my memory refreshed.
I'm sure.
Rich, where do we pay a ton for salt right now?
I believe it's around $72 a ton, a little over $72.
Is that less than last year's?
It's comparable
About the same.
It was about the same as last year's.
Okay.
Which is unusual that the price didn't increase. It's never decreased, but
Right.
it stayed.
Yeah, it usually goes up.
It usually goes up every year.
Just tell the guys, good job this winter. They're up against it, that's for sure.
It's it was a bizarre year. That's
It
for sure.
was.
Thanks. Moving on, Park and Recreation report, Mr. Miller. Anything from Mr. Miller?
Mr. Miller, two things. First, I had a chance to get down to Indian Lake and use that fitness equipment. Figured some of it out. Just wanted to know, is there any signage that goes with that as far as how to use that, or is it just kind of figure it out for yourself kind of mentality there?
You're a smart guy, Commissioner. You can figure it out. We are anticipating some signage. I'm actually awaiting some quotes on signage for those pieces of equipment.
Okay. And the second thing, when I read your report, to address one of your requests was for dirt bikes, again, for the police department to pursue ATVs and other vehicles that are using Braddock Trail inappropriately. And I know in the past that's brought about some discussion, but I just don't think that's the best use of township expenses. I would be open to other ideas. I understand, again, we're trying to protect the natural allure of Braddock's Trail as well as keeping the trails maintained. But I would be open to other ideas. I just don't know that that's an efficient use of our township budget. So just wanted to put in my 2 cents on that one.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Miller?
April showers bring May flowers. Stay positive. Everybody's anxious to use the parks. Our guys are anxious to start mowing, and we're certainly anticipating a good spring and summer season.
Thanks.
Dan, I just wanted to compliment on the soccer program up there for the youth and everything at Jumpstart. It's a good program, and kids really enjoy it. And I talked to you about the needs up there, so.
And I actually just did make a note about trying to get an additional portage on, so.
Okay.
Thank you,
All
Commissioner.
right, thank you.
Yep.
Good job.
Thank you.
Moving on, police report, Lieutenant Mahinsky. Anything for the lieutenant?
Our 3 new cars are in, they're being put together. One of them actually will be on the road probably this week, either tomorrow or Friday, and the other 2 will probably be a week apart. So we're moving on. And Rescue 8's been notified that the car that they wanted is available, and I told Shane to get in touch with Mr. Silka to work out the paperwork.
Right, we're replacing the regular patrol cars, not the SUVs, correct?
I didn't hear you. Sorry.
The regular police cars, not the SUVs. We're replacing them, right?
Yes, yeah, we got one patrol car, regular car that's out on the road. We have a marked car, it's being replaced with an SUV. And then one SUV, the mileage was just astronomical on it, it had to be replaced. And the other one is another, I think we're out of marked patrol cars.
Okay.
Regular cars.
Cars, yeah, right, yeah, I know. All right, thank you.
Anything else for us, Lieutenant McKinsky? All right, moving on, emergency management report. I don't believe Gene Commandor is here. Plan and engineering report, Mr. Blanco. Fire officials report. Any questions on the fire officials report? No, sir. Subdivision and land development, Mr. Blanco.
There's one resolution on the agenda tonight to approve subdivision 7 of 2018, the St. George Acres Lot 12R consolidation plan.
Motion approved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Moving on, solicitors report, Mr. Alexander.
Thank you, Mr. President. There are no action items on this month's solicitor's report.
Okay, thank you. Township managers report, Mr. Silka.
Okay, I have a couple action items. The first is action to approve the March check register.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Second item is the budget report that is for March 2018 that is provided for your information. No action is required on that. Third, I'm going to ask for action to authorize the posting of First Street at Pennsylvania Avenue to prohibit vehicles over 20 feet in length.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
The next item is action to terminate the building inspection services to Irwin Borough on April 30th, 2018, but to allow services to continue on existing projects on a monthly basis.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
The next item is action to adopt a resolution authorizing the township manager to execute PennDOT Form M9050AA for SP-13-2017 Parkview Federal Credit Union.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
The next item is action to approve a retirement incentive resolution for members of the North Huntington Township Police Department, conditioned upon participation of 6 members. Document to be provided by the solicitor.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah.
Excuse me,
Is that
5 now?
Yeah, it will be have to amend it to 5.
Okay.
And I have prepared that resolution and sent it off to Manager Silka for his review. He has recommended changes to it, which I'll make, and he'll have a final document back tomorrow.
Okay. With the change of 5 members to 6.
I'll make that motion.
6 to 5.
6,
6 to
sorry,
5.
excuse me, 6 to 5.
I'm okay with that.
Any other board discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, the next item is action to approve Cross Swords investigation to conduct an internal investigation within the Township of North Huntington.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, I do have 3 additional items that were omitted from the agenda that I'd like to have more consideration. The first being is seasonal employment for the Public Works Department.
If a board member would like to, they could add this to the agenda, and then we will have to take citizens' input at that time.
I'll make a motion, we add this seasonal employment to the agenda.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. And we can put the 2 together. There's seasonal employment for Parks and Recreation and for Public Works. So if you want to review both of those.
Okay, for the Public Works Department, there's currently 4 hires that have been budgeted. Do you want me to read the names?
Yep.
Okay. Evan Peters, he's worked last summer. Justin Cole, he worked last summer. Sean Prines and Daniel Keister. They both worked last summer and both had positive reviews from the department director, Rich Albert. For Parks, there's 9 people looking in for this year. Charles Huss, Sean Bowen, Joe Papp, Ryan Lubinsky, Dante Rizzo, Brendan Norato, Corey Christman, Mike Vicenta Jr., and Tristan Payne. And they are recommended by the Parks Director, Dan Miller.
We just,
Up to public.
yep. So if any residents would like to speak on the matter of hiring seasonal employees, they could come up at this time. Let the record reflect no citizens' input. At this time, the board would like to make a motion to hire seasonal employment, they could do so.
Excuse me, I'll make that motion. We hire seasonal employees for the Parks and Recreation and the Road Department.
Second.
Discussion?
One concern I have is something I've brought up in the past. Are we doing any sort of police background checks, anything being that these guys are in the Parks and Recreation Department? Is that something we're going to be pursuing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll all be screened prior to bringing them on.
All right, thank you.
Any other board discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, and the last item, there's 2 vacancies currently on the WWMA board, and we did receive a letter of interest from Mike Facenda requesting appointment, and there is a term that would end on December 31st, 2022, that is vacant.
I'll make a motion to add it to the agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. At this time, we take any citizens' input on appointing Mike Facenda to the WWMA board. Let the record reflect no citizens' input.
I'll make that motion to hire, or to appoint Mike Facenda to the WWMA board.
For a term ending December 31st, 2022, is that
Yeah,
it?
correct. Yes. Sorry about that, yes.
Thanks. Thanks, Craig.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
That is my report, sir.
All right, any other further board comments?
Yes, I have something.
Go ahead, Dave.
I'd like to read. This is pertaining to my supposedly allegations about me stealing millings from the township. And I'd like to read this matter of record. The Office of Attorney General assumed jurisdiction of the above caption matter per your request by letter dated June 20th, 2016. Whenever you cited a conflict of interest. Please be advised that the investigation has been completed. After reviewing the evidence, the Office of Attorney General has conducted that there is insufficient evidence to prosecute, and therefore criminal charges are not warranted. Accordingly, we are closing our inquiry to this matter, and the criminal charges will not be filed. So I'd just like to have that matter of record, and for those, I'd like to thank my family for their support, my friends, and for those who tried to push this further, such as Commissioner Casera, Rich Gray, Kirk Youngstead, Dave Sage, and there was one citizen that called me a liar, and Rich Sanowski, this is to you too. Here's what you've been looking for, so I just read it, and as far as any wrongdoing, it's officially a letter that cleared me for any wrongdoing for stealing the millings. And as far as the millings go, the millings were received from Ross Development, and Jimmy Ross, the owner, testified to that already, so the millings did not come from North Huntington Township. So Mr. Gray stated that he would do everything he could to get me to quit and resign, and Mr. Casera asked me to quit and do us all a favor and quit, and that I would not do. So sometimes it's lonely being right, but I stood up for what was right, and I didn't do nothing wrong, and here's a letter to clear it. And we had other people downstairs in the police department have done things wrong and have made accusations about individuals' race and color. So, and nothing was done to them as of now anyway. So, and there's a couple commissioners that made that allegation, and there's a couple police officers that made that allegation. So I'd just like to pursue that as far as the end of the millings investigation. So they'll have to try better next time. So thank you.
Any other board comments? Seeing none, moving on to announcements.
Okay, two quick announcements. One is the North Huntington Parks and Recreation will be offering a wildflower walking tour at Braddock's Trail Park beginning on Saturday, April 7th through April 28th at 10:30 a.m. weather permitting. You can call the administrative office to reserve your space. And secondly, the spring yard waste collection is scheduled during the following weeks, April 10th, April 24th, and May 8th on your regular day of trash service. Leaves and yard waste must be placed in biodegradable bags and placed at the curb by 6 a.m.
Just need one more motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. Meeting adjourned, 6:35.